we don't want
anarchy,
exactly.
we don't pray.
All right, gentlemen.
At this point.
Straight to our next conversation. For a political party to survive, internal cohesion and broad-based acceptance of its processes are non-negotiable. The recent convention of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Ibadan, Oyo State, is facing intense backlash, with several states and key stakeholders distancing themselves from the exercise. During the convention, the party announced the expulsion of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and 10 other PDP chieftains over alleged anti-party activities. Reports indicate that Wike's camp, as well as 4 other state chapters of the PDP, have rejected the purported expulsion of members. Okay, BK, since, Saturday when this convention happened, all sort of comments, But how will the...
Maybe, I don't know if it was this issue.
Okay, but because this all right, but the thing is, how will the PDP survive the deluge of first the court cases and the backlash, arising from this convention?
Well, as it is, I don't know the magic the party wants to deploy. Yeah, I've listened to arguments from some lawyers who were in support of the Ibadan Convention, and part of the argument was that one, the Electoral Act did not expressly state that INEC must monitor because of the way the paragraph was couched. But you see, we all know, because you see, in any society, there's what we call norms, there's tradition. Okay. And these things, they have been happening. Now, if all of a sudden you are not realizing that INEC was not necessarily needed to be there, why were you insisting on having INEC in the first place? It means that you know that there is a defect if INEC does not monitor. That is one. Two, apart from the first Federal High Court ruling by Justice Omotosho, there was also another one by former Jigawa Governor Sule Lamido. Now, I hear some people argue that your court cannot interfere in internal affairs of the party.
Yeah, the Supreme Court ruling.
No, you see, look, my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding of that ruling is that if, for instance, both of us are of Party A and we have issues with our primaries, a member of Party B cannot go to court to challenge what transpired. It will be described as a medusum interloper.
Yes.
But as a member of Party A, I can challenge the process if I am not satisfied with what transpired.
Yes.
And so to that extent, you cannot bring issue of internal party. In any case, the laws are meant to be obeyed. In the Sule Lamido's case, what the court is saying is that the party has not obeyed these rules. The party has not obeyed this constitution. Because Sule went to court with the issue of fundamental human rights. You are denying him the opportunity to contest. And I was listening to my elder brother yesterday. He said, by today, we will know who owns the who will go to Wadata.
Wadata House.
The Anyanwu camp have issued a notice of a meeting to hold in Wadata. The meeting is supposed to take place tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Tuesday. So let's wait and see what happens. Let's see where the other group, will operate from. If you listen to Saraki's concept very well, I believe that was what PDP ought to have done if they were interested in moving forward. They ought to have altered that convention. And it has happened before. If you recall when Alimodu Sharif, was the chairman and they had issues, they went to Port Harcourt with the intention of holding a convention. And because of this kind of crisis, they couldn't hold the convention. That was where the idea of setting up a caretaker committee led by McCarthy emerged. And it was McCarthy that midwifed the party. The case was in court until the court ruled that Alimodu Sharif was not supposed to still continue as a chairman of the party. So with this litigation, the people I pity most are those who will be contesting on the platform of the platform.
All right, Vicky, let's look at the expulsion. of these 11 prominent and influential political figures. Where in the PDP constitution did the party derive the powers to expel these influential figures?
I don't, when you say the party, you should be saying the faction. Because whether we like it or not, this is a party factionalized, a party fractured right down the middle.
They are saying there are no factions. If you hear them, they say
do you believe
there's faction?
Do you believe they are saying that the fact that they are the ones saying it? Well, it doesn't mean that is the truth. Anyone who cannot see that the PDP is factionalized must be blind. It is visible even to the blind. It's as apparent as daylight. How can anyone say there is no faction? It is ridiculous to say there is no faction. There is a faction. And in this case, look, 3 different cases. Sule Lamido, you can't accuse him of belonging to Wike's faction.
Okay.
Wike's people on their own, they said, no, we will have nothing to do with this. And given the number of even prominent people that they have on their side, you cannot say they don't matter. You can't say the secretary of the party, the legal advisor of the party, organizing secretary. These are premium grade ESCO members now. What are we talking about? And they said, don't hold this. Saraki had wise counsel. Saraki's own desire is to see some level of rapprochement take place. And after that, we can have a proper convention. Because at the end of the day, you disobeyed the order of the court to the fact that you should not hold the convention. You went ahead and held it. You didn't set aside that order through a superior court. That means the order subsists. And when you fail to obey the order of the court as it has happened, whatever you did, whatever you then proceeded to do after that order, it's a nullity.
All right,
it's as simple as that.
We'll get to talk about this right after this break. Don't go away. Still Journalist Hangout. All right, if you just joined us, it's Still Journalist Hangout. I still have Ismail Omikbidon right here and BKO. So BKO, I need you to land on that thought. You know, when the Constitution, this issue of expulsion.
See, I believe when people say parties are like churches or mosques, you don't turn people back. You can stop people from joining your party. You can also punish party members.
Okay.
You can punish party members. I've seen APC expel people. I think there was even an APC member in the north who abused President Buhari, was expelled outright. Yes, he was expelled for abusing President Buhari. So these things happen. There is no... Every group you expect that, okay, there will be a body of rules to guide people's conduct.
Yes.
You can't say, for example, that, okay, I'm a member of this party, I slapped NWC members routinely, I'm slapping them. You think they will keep that person?
No.
They won't keep the person. They will find a way to send that person packing. But the thing is, the convention is the biggest decision-making organ of the party.
Yes.
The convention that they have held, does it have the force of law?
The legal backing.
Yes. Given the fact that they were told not to go ahead with it, the court told them don't go ahead with it. If you disobey, parties have been taught a lesson. Look what happened in
Zamfara?
Plateau.
Okay, Plateau. Okay.
Even Zamfara.
Yes, Zamfara. And when court gives an order and you fail, Rotimi Amechi was told, no, conduct a proper primary. He refused. And everybody lost. Everybody lost in the state. But he will be posturing as a Democrat now. Sometimes I just look at him, that this my brother, you know. So my issue is not whether it was right to suspend or to expel the convention, because you can't build something on nothing. Are they convinced that, with this convention,
you've done the right thing?
Done the right thing? Did you obey the courts? The answer is no. That is a sticking point.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how they can. We want to see, actually, that Wadata Plaza, who will go and occupy, whether Kabiru Turaki would be able to occupy the place. Look at the governor. Governors have clout. If the governors are saying, no, they didn't consult us, they didn't speak to us, to take such big decisions,
you need to
at least those governors
need to be.
It's not something that maybe one or two persons and Bode George, who is not known to have ever won any election. You don't just bring such people who will now say they are expelling people. Bode George himself, he belongs to PDP. He supported a Labour Party member in the last governorship election. Is that not anti-party activity? And the old man was happy to suspend, read the release expelling people. So it's a party turned against itself, and I don't know. It will take a miracle to make the PDP electable again.
I mean, the party now has a new chairman. I mean, it's the pending
faction.
Okay, the faction. Yeah. Okay, now a new chairman, Kabiru Turaki. But looking at what happened, how legitimate is his leadership under the Constitution?
Look, in the first instance, even the meeting that was convened to endorse him as a consensus candidate, the state where he comes from, Kebbi, were not part of that meeting. Now, at the convention, I am not sure I saw any notable personality from Kebbi State as a delegate attending that convention, where he was purported to have been, elected. Now, Chief Bode George, who moved the motion for the expulsion, don't forget he was the one who led the rebels within the PDP into the 2023 presidential election, and even after. He was supporting the Wike camp. He was supporting Otom and Co. So ordinarily,
what changed?
He should also be served the expulsion. He should be part of the. He should be expelled too.
They should put his name.
Because he was the one who led them into.
He led the rebellion.
The rebellion against the party.
Now, some governors have dissociated
and to tell
themselves.
you that there is crisis. Governor Fintiri, who was the chairman of the convention, who was at the convention, immediately issued a statement to say he was not party to that decision.
Yeah,
Governor of Plateau, Mutuang, also dissociated himself from that.
They didn't consult him.
And this is the first time the governors will be having divergent views over this matter since this crisis started.
What impact will that have, on the unity of the party moving forward?
I'm just telling you that in the past, the governors, even though they are not too pleased with certain decisions, they have always pretended to be together. This is the first time two of them will be coming out to dissociate themselves from a decision taken. So that simply means there's a crack in the wall of the governors' forum already. So I don't see how, and you see, people forget that ambition is God who gives power.
True.
And because if you look at it, it's all about self-interest.
Not about the party.
No, it's not about the party. The only reason why they are afraid of Sule Lamido is that those of them who want to pick the party's presidential ticket and the running mate believes that with a Sule Lamido, they may not be able to have their way. Because Sule Lamido is a principled politician. And so whatever you want to do...
It's a fiercely loyal party.
You have to put it on the table. You have to be sure that this one will benefit the party.
All right, gentlemen, we need to go on a quick break right now. And when we return,